Good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matt Leschper with 1836 Property Management, as always, in beautiful Austin, Texas. We are happy to be here with you talking about Austin real estate investing. And we have one of the absolute best people to speak to with us today for your educational purposes. So as a refresher, 1836 Property Management specializes in helping investors make real estate investing easy. We do that with partners, whether it's realtors, lenders, vendors that can paint your house, whether it's insurance people, attorneys that can help you get rid of that tenant you thought you could manage, but then found out you couldn't. That's our job, is to help make real estate investing easy for you guys out there. So as we go through today, don't forget there is a ask a question button or option at the bottom of the screen. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let us know. We will get to those probably at the end of our time today so that we can answer anything and then get you resources if there's something that we can't answer today. I am proud to welcome Debbie Traminsky with me today. She has been working with us for years. She is dedicated, experienced. She's knowledgeable. She's one of our real estate partners. She's also an investor in Austin, which we love because we get to talk shop. It's not, well, what do clients want, but I'm never going to invest. It's what would I do for my own family? What have I seen success with? And that is a real difference. She also works for one of the best firms in Austin, Texas, that is quite unique from top to bottom. If you are not familiar with it, I suggest Googling the firm just to read the background and the ideology. It really is a little bit different than some of the big ones. And it's made all the difference in the world. You can plot their trajectory and kind of see that for itself. So Debbie, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your company, about what you got going on.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I'm Debbie Trominski, and I have been in real estate since 2003. I kind of got into real estate. I was kind of forced into it into a way. I just graduated from UT's MBA program in 2002. So, .com bust. So the job market was not good, but I was one of the lucky ones that had landed a job as a marketing manager for a software startup. And they didn't make it. And in a way, I got laid off, and I didn't really even cry. I just kind of sniffled and was like, oh, well, I guess that's not going to work out. And in a way, I was like, I just don't like the office environment. I had, a business background before that too, a BBA from UT. And so I just took a moment to be like, what do I really want to do? And just real estate. It was just like within that same day I got laid off, I went and signed up for a real estate course, and I just knocked it out, got my license as quickly as I could, and never looked back. My husband and I, we got married very young. We bought our first house very young over in Cherrywood. It's 1998. So dang, what timing, And so from there, I got into real estate, and I was mentored by my broker at the time to invest in real estate. And I was just like, sure. I'm kind of impulsive, and I did it, and it's turned out fantastic. So I guess I'm impulsive in good ways. I don't go to Vegas. I think that's, ridiculous, but I'll put money into real estate. Right. And so I've been in practicing real estate, helping clients, working by referrals the whole 19 years. I've a fairly successful practice. I formed a team called the Right Team because we're the right team to work with. We do real estate rights. I'm at Realty Austin, and it's just like the best place in the world to practice real estate. It's just like collaborative, and they just give you the guidebook on how to be a good realtor, how to be a good boss to your administrative staff, and just how to take care of your clients the right way. So I haven't seen anything else in the marketplace quite like that. So I guess that's probably, and I'm married. I think I mentioned I got 2 teenage kids, living the dream, living in Central Austin. So can't complain.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, our video topic today is going to be about buying real estate, investing in real estate in Austin, Texas, specifically in 2022, because as you've heard, Austin's gone through a little bit of a transformation over the past few years. And apparently now it's the place where everybody wants to be and is still clamoring to get in. So we're going to talk about buyer competition and inventory, what that looks like if you're wanting to move here. We're going to specify the purchase for an investors today versus owner occupants. Not that it's dissimilar, It's the same kind of objective, but for the sake of our discussion today. Also, projections for sellers. What are you expecting for people? What do you recommend for people that are going to sell? Or, well, I guess my first question would be, why are you going to sell? If you're at retirement, or if you're, past retirement, if you're retirement or you have life change, death, divorce, things like that. Those sometimes require sales, but good Lord, I don't know where you're going to take the money and make anywhere close to this kind of rate of return, but either way, we'll touch on it. Outside factors affecting the housing market. The world's changing. I mean, Europe has been at peace for 70 years, and all of a sudden now there's a little bit of chaos. Well, what about the fuel? And there's a lot of things going on, investments in Central Texas, how that's going to affect us. And then lastly, everybody wants to know where the magic is. Where's the hot spot? Where's the super deal? Come on, tell me where the deal is. So we'll at least address that so people feel like we're not ignoring that topic, but yet maybe shed a little bit of light on it as well. So let's hop on the first one, buyer competition and inventory. Give us the lowdowns, if you would, on what you're seeing out there. I know your client database and your productivity is so high. Most people are going to come in and think, well, a realtor sells one or two houses. That ain't how it works at Realty Austin. And you guys are doing such volume, you're getting, that many more at-bats. So what are you seeing from that experience every single day making offers out there for investors and buyers?
Well, one nice thing about being at Realty Austin, we share notes, we compare, right? And so we help one another. And so that's given us all, it's, take it or leave it, right? But we share strategies. And what I've done is I've taken that along with my experience, and we coach our clients to make strong offers, given whatever their financial situation is. We can't have them overextend themselves, but we can give them the information they need to extend themselves as far as they can without being uncomfortable or putting themselves into a pinch. But so our track record, my team and I, since, things went off the hook bananas last year, most of our clients, our average is 1 to 2 offers before they win a contract, before they win a house. And the industry average out there is 5 to 10 offers. And I've had some clients come into my life where they had been through multiple realtors and made, one person made 15 offers and she didn't win. And boom, we work with her, 2 offers, she's got a place, and I keep seeing that repeating. And I was like, tell me about what you were doing, what your situation was. And I can maybe oh, well, you didn't get any guidance or advice here, there, or somewhere else. Oftentimes, they're working with an internet lender. I'm like, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're never gonna win unless you're the only offer. And so it's just, taking all the mechanics of the offer, not just price, it's everything you can work to your advantage, and just putting your best foot forward, and just people understanding, what it means to I've been giving buyer consultation presentations. I don't know how many, probably thousands I've given. And until last year, it was all oriented around getting the best deal. And now it's no, we don't talk about getting the best deal. It's what is it going to take to stand out and win? And the deal is you got the house. That's the bargain. Right?
You're correct. That's what's changed.
And so it's just reorienting people's thinking. And, most of them are pretty smart and they catch on. There's some that just they don't want to hear that. They don't want to face reality, and they fizzle out. And that's okay, good luck.
So you've hit so many good points. I'm making notes, not because I haven't heard these, but because I want to reiterate them. They're so important. And for the people that take the time to watch this, I think they really need to take home the reality of this. So we're not here to spoon feed you a fairy tale. We're not here to lie to you. We live in this community. I'm not leaving Austin, Texas. Now I'll travel, but I'm not going anywhere. So we really care about our reputation and being honest and trustworthy. And I'm not saying some other places aren't great, but that's something kind of ingrained in us in Austin, Texas. You better treat people right, because you're going to see them again. And so there's none of this better dealing your clients or playing them against each other. It's not in our DNA in Austin. And I know that's odd from people that come to other cities. They come in here as if the realtors are going to take advantage. That's just not how the locals play. We don't do that. We know each other, and we have higher expectations for ourselves than that. which gives me a lot of pride to work in that kind of community. To reiterate the points you talked about, you're asking questions. Boy, if I could, we've got a couple salespeople that sell our property management services. That's our bread and butter is management. That's what we do, and we do it well. All I want them to do is keep asking questions. If you don't know to ask questions that your client even isn't, ready to answer, then you haven't asked enough. You need to be curious. You need to be, what are your goals? When do you want to hit those goals? What scares you? What gives you comfort? What would you give up over anything else? And go down that list. Then you're setting expectations, taking the reality and their goals to align those expectations. Because if you're not aligned, you can't go forward to success. One of you is going to go this way and the other way. I know it's off the screen, but I think you get the gist. And you've got to come together to really hit those goals and be successful. Lending, I don't know why you wouldn't use a local lender. You may save $250 and you may go through hell to get that $250, but you're also going to lose the house that your spouse wants and loves, and your kids are in the right. It's penny smart, pound foolish. Don't do it. We've got wonderful people here that you can actually go meet and touch, and they care. And it's if you save $250, it's not worth it. And most of the time, there's some catch in the loophole in the back that you're paying more for and you don't know. The other is the buyer's consults. I think there's a perception out there that people can call a realtor and just say, well, find me a house. You get paid to find me houses. Find me a house. And I would say the really weak agents that don't have I'm going to use the word experience or continuity of business every year to do the right thing may take your business. But those like Debbie and the other folks at RA, they're not just going to jump because you say that, because they are invested in your success, and they can't be successful if they're just jumping at internet leads that won't respond to them because they're hoping on something. So you really need to be ready for that consultation and sit down and be open. The worst thing is maybe you share a little bit of personal information you wouldn't have. The best thing is you get everything you want. So I know that you guys do those buyer consults and you live by them. Buyers, even investors, be ready to have a conversation. If we can't connect with you, we're already, going different ways. So
I turn them away. I have enough business, and if they're not willing to follow the process, they can make decisions inside of my process. But if they're not even interested in my process, no.
It's not being mean. Successful people know how to do things and how to succeed, and they just don't do what's not successful. We have to turn down clients all the time because they come in telling us how to manage their property. And then we give them the stats on what happens when they do that. And then they keep insisting. And so we just have to say we respectfully, can go separate ways. So let's jump on to the next one. I'm sorry, I kind of went on a side track about that, but those were so important, and you hit every one of those. Next thing I do, I'm going to pop up a little poll on the bottom so people can just kind of answer and let us know what you think. If you're going to buy real estate, or did you plan on buying it this year, or did you buy it in the last couple of years? So hopefully that poll is visible to you now, and you can kind of answer as you go. And we'll regroup on those in a little bit. Second, seller projections. What do you believe sellers can expect going forward? I don't know why you sell real estate. One of the most successful people we've had walk in the office over the years was a third generation holder of real estate. And she said, my grandma just said never sell. Well, that was pretty simple. And there you go. And now she's taking those and parlaying them into more and more in commercial properties and everything else. But life events happen, divorce, marriage, death, all these good things. Life happens to all of us. So for sellers, what are you seeing today, and what are you expecting through this year?
Well, in terms of why people are selling or should sell, or just what I see the market.
What the marketplace is going to look like for them? Are they going to continue to see these, large jumps in prices? Is the demand going to fall off? What are your thoughts on that?
My speculation is just that speculation. It's just based on what we're seeing. And, I closely follow economist talks and forecasts, and Austin Business Journal is a wealth of information too. So I always have my ear to the ground and, grassroots, seeing what my colleagues are reporting every week, seeing what I'm seeing. I mean, there's outside forces, Ukraine, probably primarily, and rate hikes and all that sort of stuff. So you can't really put it into a vacuum, but all that stuff, maybe that will trip us up a little bit. And by trip up, my projection is that would not mean a decline by any means, maybe just slow us down for a minute, which might not necessarily be a bad thing. But I see Austin having such strong tailwinds because of all the economic growth, Samsung, Apple, Oracle, Tesla, and the whole litany of them, it just keeps going and going. And a lot of those people aren't even here yet. And it just continues to grow. It's like success begets success. One tech company comes here and then it just like kind of validates Austin, which, I think happened years and years ago. And we continue just to get, this positive feedback loop of more and more validation for Austin. And one of my clients is a economist at UT. And she and I had a discussion earlier this week. And her thoughts on it is we're kind of, to put in her words, we're at an inflection point where Austin is kind of like how California was, the Bay Area, Silicon Valley in the 90s, yes, where bam, it's just going to take off. And I think, there's the macroeconomic factors, which of course will affect us, but at a micro, I think is strong. I think we're shielded enough where we're going to continue to be very strong. I might eat my words. I mean, all markets are cyclical, right? It'll go down at some point, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. And I think tomorrow's low is going to be still higher than today's high. So
I agree with you. I have frequently referred to this period of time in Austin that we're going through as something similar to the gold rush in California, where whether it was the tech or the actual gold, where people were doing everything they could to get in. As in the Bay Area, you've mentioned, they have some natural boundaries, which have made that real estate escalate in value. I don't think people realize that while Austin is in the middle of a large swath of land in Texas, we do have some boundaries that are restrictive of us. In the west side, you've got the hill country, and we just don't build everywhere like everybody else does. Some of that space is restricted from growth. There's waterways, there's government land, and you don't just get to put a house on a hill because you see a hill. That's not how it does here. When you go north and south, well, you're restricted by transit because I-35 or whatever road you want to choose, you can only go so far before it gets congested and not worth that drive. So we've got 3 points of the compass restricted in some way. So we go to the east and we look at growth in the east, and it's fairly, I would say, unrestricted when it goes to the east. But I don't know if you remember, Debbie, the Houston tollway. In Houston, they pour a new freeway like it's every other weekend. But that Houston tollway was put in and there wasn't a single thing on it. 10 years later, homes, schools, manufacturing plant, it filled in. And we've got that just now to the east of here. So I'm not saying that the east, the west, north, south is better than the other. They're all different. But we do have some natural restrictions that are going to keep and prop up, I think, the growth. And then with your educational background, maybe we shouldn't do it today given our time, but I'd love to talk capital allocation, because the money that is coming into our area for future investments is, at the end of the scale. I don't think we could have more allocated to this region for development by employers in a capitalist society. And like you said, most of those haven't even really broken ground yet. So it's gonna be phenomenal. That Samsung deal, personally for me, because I came from that area, was the one that I was holding my breath on. It was so big that I knew that if that solidified, boy, the weight that it carried to bring the wind with it alone, and then Apple and Google and everybody else. So I think you're right on with all this. You mentioned as well your team and your friends, your economists, your background. And I want everybody to take that in again, that you're not calling any realtor. When you call someone like Debbie, she does have the educational background, the expertise, the 20 years in business in Austin, the company that shares information behind her, who I think the market leader in Austin now, depending on how you look at the numbers, but I'll call them that because I have respect for them. You're getting more than just picking up the phone and talking to somebody who sells a couple homes. And please don't underestimate the integrity and the value that our local agents bring to the table for you guys as investors. The next topic we need to talk about is outside factors. So this is right up your alley: economics, politics, war, stock market, labor. Labor's a little bit interesting here in Austin. What are your thoughts on all that, and how is it going to affect the real estate market? I mean, you've got to have teachers and police officers and firefighters. Where are they going to live?
Have they figured that out in California even? I don't know.
True.
It's worrisome. Another thing that's worrisome to me, an outside factor, is these Wall Street companies buying single family homes. I don't know if that's well known out there, but there's the companies like Open Door. I think a lot of people might be familiar with OfferPad. There's a whole handful of them. They canvass the neighborhood. They send offers to people, and they buy the houses. And like, hopefully most sellers, if they get that offer and they're entertaining it, they talk to a realtor too as a sanity check. Because man, if one person makes an offer and it's a Wall Street backed company, it's like, they must think they're getting a deal. They must think real estate is really valuable. Why the heck are they making this offer?
Wall Street's here to help you.
But so these companies, what they're doing is, they'll flip it. It's a different podcast about the quality of work they do, and they'll put it back on the market to gain market share. And a third of these properties, they are instantly flipping to these Wall Street backed companies, like these institutional investors that hold this portfolio of homes as rental properties for decades. They don't plan on selling it or letting a homeowner occupant buy it at any time. And what that's doing, it's constricting the available market of single family, especially starter homes for younger folks or people who are finally ready to buy their first home. And to me, it's crushing the American dream, and it's so heartbreaking. And so I really dislike that, and it's kind of a mission of mine to educate people about that. And on the same token, it's also taking away from like mom and pop investors like me and my clients. Like some of my clients, like one guy works in a nonprofit, and just by following my methodology, they have like 5 rental properties, and he's just like over the moon grateful. And it's just because he followed a simple recipe I gave him, and he just trusted me and got out of my way. And I'm fast paced, he's fast paced, so like we're like he's like the dream client. But so like I don't mind those people owning rental houses because it's like for their family's wealth. Right. It's not a huge, and they might sell it one day, or it's just like helping them put their kids through college. It's not a Wall Street backed company buying, 10,000 properties in a city or something. So that's just, it's a concern. I would say that's the outside force that people don't read about in the papers, or the Wall Street buying up single family homes and to the exclusion of normal people.
Something I just thought about while you were discussing this topic was when a buyer, investor in Austin goes to purchase a property, they're often competing with people who waive, I won't say all the time, market norms. That's your seat to state, but I will say I've heard of, how about that? Is that more fair? People waiving inspections, waiving option periods, all that. And if you're a company conglomerate knowing you're buying this for a discount, you already know you're buying it for discount. But then if the marketplace starts requiring that of future buyers, what's to say that all the repairs and the lipstick they put on these homes don't have problems behind the wall, if you will, that are unseen? And we've got now first-time buyers who are kind of at their price limit, or first-time investors on their first property buying something with potential defects. Maybe that's
unseen
way of saying it. It's concerning. So what's an investor supposed to do to compete in a market where they have no leverage?
Well, so I see people. Yes, there are people who waive inspection, but I think that's the exception more than the rule still. And when I represent sellers, and a lot of the top agents that I interact with on a regular basis, we highly and strongly encourage our sellers to get pre-inspections done. So it's a full-blown property inspection, and we can provide that to to the buyers. I mean, we have to provide it because we have that information. Of course, we can make strategic repairs that might be deal killers before it goes even on the market. So we're not dealing with that, the histrionics that can happen with nervous homebuyers, which is another topic all by itself. I won't touch right now. And so, yes, so I would say it's the exception rather than the rule. It does exist. If it's going to become more prevalent, I don't know. But I mean, that's another reason you want to have a really good realtor, because, good realtors, we go on inspections. We know we can probably see, I mean, we're not inspectors, right? But we can say, hey, I think this is going to come up as an inspection issue. And we should have a pretty good handle on how much things cost and maybe how severe it is. So there's that. And also, if you waive your inspection period, you can still get the sucker inspected. There's no, there is like, God isn't striking you down if you try to get it inspected. You just schedule it and you still might be able to negotiate. You'd be like, hey, I know I waived my inspection, but I got this inspection done. And, there's mummies in the basement and I want you to rectify that. And that seller still might be negotiable, or you can walk away and lose your earnest money. If losing that earnest money is less painful than buying a house with mummies in the basement, that's just maybe a cost of playing the game. It does cost money to play the real estate game, and you just have to be adult enough to be okay with that. So I think I kind of hit all of what I wanted to go into there without ranting.
I love it. And I think, again, investors may not know us. They may not know our market or the integrity of people who live here. But there are certain things that you can use to your advantage, because I'm just going to go through a scenario. Let's say you waive your option, you waive your inspection, but you have it inspected anyway, and you find out maybe the seller knew, maybe they didn't, but they never disclosed that the foundation was cracked in 87 places. I'm just making this up, right? But you make them aware of that. Well, you could lose your earnest, but now they're legally required to disclose that if they go back on the market. And you're the one bird in the hand. So do they want to now go after the two in the bush with a broken stick? I don't know. But there are things that if you're strategic and you have a smart agent that's working for you, you can use to your advantage, even if it doesn't seem that way on the surface. So I love that you brought that point up about just because it's not written in doesn't mean you can't do it. Let's think outside the box and solve our problems collaboratively. Or sometimes paying people in the corner because they may have already known about that, but just forgot. Either way, you got to take care of business and take care of your clients. So the poll we had has a couple people that are purchasing properties in this next year. So I'm going to go ahead and make the last poll we've got visible at this time. And just says, if you're looking at purchasing investment property, where would it be? And this is just kind of a check to see who likes what and where. Let us know. You're welcome to click on that as we go through. And don't forget as well, if you have any questions, anything that we haven't covered, feel free to ask a question and we can address that at the end. So on that topic, let's talk about the secret spots. Where all the secrets at, Debbie? Are you going to share with us the secret place to make a met in Austin? Is it north, south, east, west? Where is it and why? What do you love and what are you looking for and why? Each one's different.
So anywhere you can get a property is a secret spot, really. You can definitely get more refined from there and make more distinctions. But, some people live south, they prefer to invest south, and that's great. It's going to do fine. There's Tesla down there, Butte, Kyle are booming, and the San Antonio, Austin corridor is growing together. So there's opportunity there. It's not like, you cross the river and all of a sudden you've gone into like this, economic, barren wasteland, right? So, and it depends on your budget and what you're looking for. Try not to be too obtuse here, but so kind of wherever you want, depending on your budget, right? And if you want to be close to it or not, I still recommend the Austin area. And if you just can't afford to get into Austin, then go to San Antonio. Realty Austin has Realty San Antonio. So, I could connect people with good agents down there too. I would go there before I'd go to Houston. Houston, has turbulence with the oil and gas, and who wants to deal with hurricanes and all that flooding? But coming back to Austin, I personally prefer north, just because the domain to me is just such the epicenter of all the action. It's when the city council, I remember seeing a city council presentation back in 2005 or something like that, talking about the Domain. I think that's before they'd even broken ground. It was just all those ugly brown IBM buildings. And you remember those? Oh my gosh. And that happens to be the geographic center of the Austin area population. So most people are within a radius of the Domain versus south. And so that's why it's been such a beacon for those high rises and all these companies, wanting to have their employees located there because parking's easy. It's close, their commute's not nearly as bad. And so I'm just a blast zone of suburbs around there, depending on the budget and what the client's looking for. Some people buy for pure appreciation plays. And so they're, buying at a higher price point.
Yes.
Maybe they're looking into short-term rentals, and that's a whole kind of loaded thing because they're not necessarily legal if it's not your primary residence when you're in Austin. So I need to tread carefully there, but maybe you could do like a 30-day furnished finder type of rental for traveling nurses. Or you just don't mind that your rent and your purchase price are kind of out of alignment, and you might be subsidizing somebody's lifestyle because the rent that property gets is probably the same as what if you got a cheaper house on the other side of I-35. So there's a diminishing return based on how much a property is worth and how much it rents for. And so I would say the lion's share of my investors, they opt for kind of the ones where the price and rents jive pretty well. And that doesn't mean they're making gobs of money every month by any means. If there's a vacancy or the AC blows up or anything like that, they're going to be negative for the year. But, they're just looking at their mortgage payment. I always encourage people not to pay cash and just to leverage the property too for, return on investments. But where the rents and where their payments kind of jive, where your cash flow neutral, maybe a little bit positive. And I always encourage all my clients, unless they're, they have compelling reasons, I'm like, get it property managed. You don't want to deal with that. So, and I always send them to you guys because I use you guys and I've used other property managers. And I know that from experience, you guys are where it's at. So
very kind of you. We're absolutely human and not perfect, but we never want to make a mistake twice. And we do our best to really dig into problems and solve them once for all. So I can't say we're going to have seen everything because it's like the insurance commercial where random things happen. But we're engaged and we care and we're in this for the long haul. I don't plan on ever selling this company or going away out of Austin. So we're not here to play around or short term it. A couple of things you touched on, which I want to support you on. The short-term rentals in Austin, we actually started a short-term rental company. And knowing how I wish I would have started this, we went out and sought a lot of data, did a lot of research beforehand, met some experts, brought all that knowledge back, and within about a year and a half, shut it down. In the city of Austin, there are restrictions, there are taxations, there are limits on permits. There are so many factors, and then while Austin is always in demand, it does this, it doesn't do this. And so I will tell you it's twice the headache, twice the income, twice the expenses, and twice the volatility of a long-term. A long-term vacant rental is kind of the bread and butter no-brainer. I love how you brought up leverage versus paying cash. Your return on equity is dramatically greater if you use somebody else's money. If money becomes 8 or 10%, we're going to look at that math. But at 4 or 5%, well, the math is the math. It is what it is. We have a new software that we've developed. It dovetails with our software, but it's going to be sold to other property management companies called the REI Monitor as well. It's not out to the general public. It will be used for agents to be able to run numbers. So if you want to plug your numbers in for your client and do predictions, it'll also be used by other property management companies so we can aggregate data and better return numbers to our clients. We need to be talking numbers to our clients, not do you like the tulips in the front yard? And so it gives us those metrics so we can be real on that instead of running spreadsheets. So I'm happy to share that with you on another day. I think those are the main topics that you keep bringing up such good things. I can't let them go. And they're just exactly what we need to be talking about with our folks. So it sounds like really their goals are the big thing for you. How much money do they have to invest? That determines where they invest and what kind of leverage they want to put down. It's really about them. That's what I'm hearing from.
Yeah. And I mean, and also every time I meet somebody, they might have an idea of what they think they want, but they don't know what they don't know. So I'm like, I open the world up for them and like, here's other options. And frequently, they kind of pivot what they want once they have more clarity, because, they're coming to an expert to show them more possibility. And so, yeah, but but people invest for different reasons. Absolutely. And you just, and all those are valid paths. It's just making sure they understand, the opportunity cost of one versus the other, and then just roll with it.
Yeah, I love it. But really asking those questions, getting to know them, and everything. Everybody wants to click a button now on their phone and be done with things, but relationships still matter. People still matter, and we need to make sure we don't ever lose focus of that. So, Debbie, thank you for sitting with us today. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to use the term real with our people today. Because that's who we want to be. We don't want to be that click on your web app. We want to be somebody that's with you for 20 years. If I can make you and Debbie can make you a successful investor, you're going to send us your friends and family. So I'm invested with you. My future is those referrals. Debbie's future is the referrals of those sales and buyers. So we're here with you to see this all the way through to the end. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that we didn't get to touch on today? I think I took all your points and just ran with them, but there's got to be something we missed.
I actually wrote a book about real estate investing, and I always forget to tell people about. I don't know why I have like this blank spot in my memory, but it's called Rich Slow is My Homeboy. Real estate investing redefined. And it's all about, it's a get rich slow play. Buying real estate, be patient, go slow, and just kind of let time work for you. And it's all about buy and hold. Like you had mentioned, why would people sell? There are absolutely reasons why people would sell. But if you don't need to, my God, hold on to that. And then, the book is a quick read. I tried to make it funny because who wants to read another boring book with numbers in it? It's got pictures too. So it, in big print. So it's a quick read, but, if you know me, I'll just give you a copy. I got a whole drawer full of them. Otherwise you can pick it up on Amazon.
And if they have any questions or anything, guys, fill out the form, ask the questions. Let's open some dialogue and just communicate. We understand you may be early in the process. We understand you may not be ready to buy, but let us build the trust with you by being there for you over time. Reach out to Debbie and her team and allow them to do what they do and show you their expertise. This is their profession. This isn't something she's doing as a hobby, and she's personally successful at it. So instead of buying a book from somebody who does nothing but sell books, why don't you have a free conversation with somebody who actually is successful at what they do and invest alongside with you? She's the person. You need to reach out to her. I can't thank you enough for just spending your time with us today, Debbie. It's wonderful. I wish we've all been so busy, and then, the last 2 years have been kind of locked down, but I would love if you're ever on South Congress, please come see us among all the shopping. We can go grab lunch or coffee or anything. Same thing for any of our clients. If you're coming to town and you want to grab lunch, coffee with any of us just to break bread, it matters. Relationships matter. So please reach out to Debbie, reach out to us at 1836. Let us know what we can do to help you guys be successful. And I can't thank you enough for being with us today and being a great colleague to work with and help represent Austin in an honest way with great integrity.
Oh, it's mutual. No, my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me on.
All right, guys. Well, Debbie's waiting for you. Reach out to her. We will see you at the next Crowdcast. And as always, it's a pleasure. We're here to help make real estate investing easy for you and bring you into a beautiful community in Austin, Texas. So thanks so much for your time. See you guys next round.
Bye, all.